Hi, it's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to work on a mini album for my great niece. I hope you'll stay tuned. So this is what I consider a very simple way to make an album, and mine is going to be a photo album that is also going to be a scrapbook, and it's small. I bought my cardboard on Amazon and it was supposed to be white. I didn't really care, but if you ever buy it on Amazon and it says it's white, it means it's white on one side, not both sides, in case you ever wondered. And what I did was I took black acrylic paint and I painted all around the edges because her school colors are purple and black and her sorority colors are gold and black. And I decided of the two colors, the gold, and it's not a metallic gold, it's more this color gold, if you can see that. This is the color gold, so I'm going to make that my binding strips, and I'll show you how you put this together. It's a very, very simple way to make an album. Anyway, so these are 6" by 6" pieces of cardboard. I'm going to make sure about that because, you know, every once in a while I convince myself I made that up. Yeah, still 6 by 6, even though I think I made it up. Then what I did was I took a piece of paper and I cut it down to 1 inch wide, which isn't this, but it was another piece of paper. And then what I did was I laid, well, I can show you this, how I did it. This will make it easier for you to see because I was using a different color before. What I did was I took a 1 inch strip of cardstock and I laid it down on each of my pieces and I just drew a line with a pencil right there. See that pencil mark? Hopefully you do. I did that on all of them on one side only. Then I took my 1/4 inch tear tape and I ran one length right up against that pencil mark, like that. And then the other one, I ran as close to the back edge as possible. Now in between those two strips, I'm going to be using some wet glue because I want this to really stay adhered. So I'm going to make sure it does, and that's how I'm going to make sure of it. And what I did then is I cut 6" long by 3" wide strips. Then I scored them at 1½ inches from on the 3" side. So I took all of them, I put it into my scoreboard at 1½, and then I ran the score, and then I did that to 8 strips because I have 8 pieces of cardboard. And then we're ready to put it together. I only put the strips on 1/2 for now. I'm going to have to flip them over and put it on the other half. I didn't put my marks in the other half, and you'll see why I didn't feel I had to do that in a second. I probably should have, but I didn't. So let me just show you how I put together one of these pieces. This is, I think it's Art Glitter Glue, and my needle is now inside my bottle because that's how you want it to roll. Okay. If you squeeze your bottle, if that ever happens to you where your needle breaks off, you squeeze your bottle a little bit and your needle will come out. I need to fix my little needle issue. Then I'm going to put some of this along the top and along the center, and making sure I have a lot. And then I'm also going to put one little bead along the inside edge because I want to make sure in the end that this bad boy stays together. Now you're going to take your little piece that you just scored, you're going to fold it in half, and then with the fold side out and the bend will be in the middle, you're going to take this and you're going to line it up with this score line, or not score line, with the little line that you made, and you're going to make sure that it's exactly on that line before you press it down. Then you're going to press it down and make sure it's where you want it to be. Then you're going to close your fold. But here is how you're going to put them together. What you're going to do, and this is the easy part. Wait, I want to put a little bit of wet glue there. As I said, keeping this thing together is my utmost priority. I'm going to put a little bit on the edge, a little bit across the top. And this also gives you the wiggle room that you might need to hold this together. Okay, here's how you can do this the easy way, if you are so inclined. You take your far side of your album, you make sure it is lined up perfectly, and I mean perfectly. Open it back up so you can see it, and then you have one of your pages already ready to go. I gotta make my marks. Let me make my marks on all the rest of these and put all of my pieces in place. I think you understand how you do this. So I'm going to finish doing the rest of these, and then I'll be back once my album's put together. Alright, so your front of your album and your back of your album don't necessarily need to have those strips on them, but I'm going to wrap another piece around this to make it more secure, but I'm not doing that until after I've got my covers on. So you can still make the 1-inch mark on the front and the back so that your strips are consistent, but this is what your book will look like. The reason that you have this extra 1/2 inch sticking out is so that your book can expand with time. If you look at it from this way, you can see that it can get bigger and bigger. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make on this page, I'm going to make this page her a page where she can have 3 photos in there, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to cut these pages, you're going to cut 3 pieces of cardstock to match. That's going to be 6 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And then on the 6 1/4 inch length, which I think this should be correct, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. You're going to score all 3 of these. Make sure you have a good score line there. Make sure you don't turn it so that you get the 5 3/4 inch side. You don't want this side. You want the 6 1/4 inch side. So another 1/2 inch. And every time I do it, I check and make sure that's at 6 1/2 or 6 1/4, because if I don't, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to go, uh-oh, I screwed that up. What else is new? So this is going to be what we're going to make for photos in our album. And I wanted her to be able to have 3 photos right off the bat. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to fold those score lines, and you're going to take a bone folder, and you're going to flatten them. It's really important that you flatten these score lines as well as you possibly can. I'm using Recollections heavyweight cardstock. It's a great cardstock for projects like this because it is so heavy, but it also makes it a little bit trickier to get your score lines so that they're really folded down, you know, so that they're flat or folded down, whichever way you want to call it. And then this is my last one. This is also going to be the one that I'm going to glue into the book. So before I put all of them in, I'm going to put my tear tape on the back of this one so that I don't forget that this is the one I want to glue into my book. So I'm just going to... You can use wet glue, and I had fully intended to use wet glue on this. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about how many failures I've had with wet glue over the years with waffly paper, and I don't want waffly paper in this album. I want this album to be nice and clean and flat and perfect. You know what I'm saying? Perfect. And the other thing I want to do with this one is I'm going to put magnets to hold it down. And I bought a bunch of magnets because I knew I was going to be making this album, and so I wanted to make sure I had enough. So I bought these really thin magnets. when I'm doing this, I want to have my magnets facing each other like they do now. So I know that the one that's right there is facing, they're facing the right direction. You don't want to put it closer than a half an inch to the edge. And the reason for that is you won't get your paper to lay down over it enough. And so that's problematic. Just saying, you don't want it. Okay, so I'm gonna also put my wet glue. And yet I shouldn't have done that right then because I didn't take my backing off yet. Jeez. And I didn't put my other ones on there yet. Ugh, what am I thinking? Probably not thinking. That's my whole problem. It's very hot and humid here, so the glues are drying really fast, and you don't want that if you can avoid it. So I'm trying to make sure all of my pieces are well adhered, especially if you've got a magnet. You really want to make sure you've got lots of glue on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this piece in my album. And I'm only going to lay it about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. This magnet is not going to stay there. And if you have any tear tape hanging over like I just did, you'll want to get rid of it. Like that. And then I'm going to put tear tape on this strip. And then I'm going to put wet glue on either side of it, just to make sure that it stays where I want it to. Okay. Then we're going to lay this piece down over that, hopefully straight. Then we're going to take our 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 and we're going to lay it on top of this. And we're going to put this magnet, hopefully, under this piece once we get it glued down. That's the plan anyway. So I need to put tear tape on this. Ooh. Got these little tear tape pieces everywhere. So I don't know if you saw this, but it's going to go, the top piece is going to be like this, and then it's going to go like this. And I think I'm going to need to put another magnet in here. I need to put a magnet over here because I want to have this piece to glue down right there. Okay, so then I'm going to put this piece over here, and I'll make sure I've got glue at the top and at the bottom once more because we want to make sure these pieces are well adhered. And then I'm going to put this piece right on that flap. Try to get as straight as possible. I don't really need this magnet here, but I can put a magnet there. But I also need to have a magnet on the other side over in here somewhere, I think, because I need this piece to lay down. So let's put another magnet there because, you know, didn't think about the whole where does the magnet go. So I'm going to put one magnet on kind of right in here. And now keep in mind we're going to have stuff underneath this. By stuff I mean, or on top of this, I'm going to have papers on top of this so that we know that if I wait, I gotta figure this out. Okay, I want that one to be right there like that. So I'm going to lay this right like that and pull it. So now we know exactly where our two magnets are going to lay, and I'm going to put this piece like that. And this piece I haven't glued in yet, so I need to put a little piece of tear tape under that piece. And don't forget, we're going to have paper over these. You know, pretty paper. It's stuck. And then I'm going to put this on top of there so that nothing, the other paper doesn't stick to it in the meantime. So now when she goes to do this layout, she'll have this page, so she'll basically have room for 6 photos and 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos. Ugh. Again, my math skills, oh, terrible. Okay, so she'll have 5 photos in this section. I close that up, we're ready to roll. So that's where we stand at this point. And I'm going to put decorator papers on most of these pages, and then I'm going to do some pockets. We're going to do some other fun stuff. But right now, where we stand is we have these pullouts made. And I'm going to decorate those with some fun stuff and, you know, make it interesting. I hope you enjoyed this video, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.